Picture this: a robot that can backflip on stage in front of millions, dance like a K-pop idol, and throw perfect free throws on command. Now picture that same robot failing to pick up a dropped pen. Somewhere between those two images lies one of the strangest business stories unfolding in the world right now, and it's happening in China. By the time this video ends, you'll understand exactly why the most hyped technology on the planet might also be one of the most misunderstood. Before we go further, if you're into stories that dig beneath the headlines and show you what's really happening in tech, hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel is about to take you somewhere most news outlets won't go. We're about to walk through boardrooms, wedding halls, and government exhibition centers to show you the real state of humanoid robotics. Stick around until the end, because the twist in this story is bigger than most people realize. Let's get into it. It all started with a viral moment. Last year, humanoid robots stole the show at China's Spring Festival Gala, a broadcast watched by hundreds of millions of people across the country. Robots danced in perfect synchronization, spun and moved with a fluidity that felt almost impossible. Clips of the performance exploded across social media, and almost overnight, humanoid robots became a national obsession. One of the people captivated by that moment was a live streamer from Hangzhou named Eileen. He wasn't thinking about robots doing chores or cooking dinner. Instead, he saw a business opportunity forming in real time. He spent $30,000 on his first Android, not to keep it at home, but to rent it out. That decision turned out to be the start of something much bigger than one man's side hustle. Eileen began renting his robot out for roughly $400 a day. Companies hired it to attract crowds at exhibitions. Couples even used it to help stage marriage proposals. Business, by his own account, was brisk. But something strange happened along the way. The same technology that looked flawless in viral videos started behaving very differently once it left the stage and entered the real world. And that gap between spectacle and substance is exactly where this story gets interesting. Eileen wasn't alone. Across China, a strange new industry quietly exploded into existence. Today, there are reportedly more than 150,000 robot rental businesses operating across the country. Search humanoid robots on Chinese social media platforms, and you'll be flooded with influencers advertising rental services, almost like a new gold rush. Robots can now be rented through physical stores or through online platforms, some dedicated entirely to robot leasing. One of China's biggest robotics manufacturers, Agibot, even launched its own rental subsidiary specifically built around this demand. Within just a few months of launching, that platform logged thousands of orders. On paper, it looked like humanoid robots were becoming a mainstream commercial product almost overnight. But here's where the story takes a sharp turn. According to people actually running these rental businesses, the technology beneath the flashy exterior is nowhere near as advanced as it appears. Eileen himself admitted that today's robots still can't operate independently. In his words, they're essentially oversized toys dressed up to look futuristic. Think about that for a second. This is someone whose entire income depends on these machines performing well, and even he is openly admitting their limitations. That's not something you hear from a marketing department. That's someone on the ground dealing with the reality behind the curtain every single day. So what exactly goes wrong when these robots step outside their scripted routines? According to rental operators, the problems are strikingly consistent. The moment a robot is asked to do something outside its pre-programmed sequence, even something trivially easy for a human, the whole performance can fall apart. Picking up a dropped object, adjusting to a slightly different table height, or reacting to an unexpected obstacle can be enough to break the illusion completely. Most of these robots rely heavily on remote human operators working behind the scenes. Someone is essentially puppeteering the machine through many of its movements, especially anything beyond basic walking or waving. That explains why rental prices often include not just the robot itself, but a human operator to help control and program it during the event. Without that hidden human hand, many of these robots would struggle to function reliably at all. This raises an uncomfortable question for an industry that has positioned itself as the future of labor. If humanoid robots still need constant human supervision just to work an exhibition booth, how close are they really to replacing workers on a factory floor? The honest answer, according to people inside the industry, is not very close at all. And that gap between promise and performance is exactly why this story matters so much right now. Despite these very real limitations, the money flowing into this sector is staggering. Beijing has identified humanoid robotics as a strategic national priority, backing it with massive government support, funding, and industrial policy. Officials have described the rapid evolution of humanoid robot technology as new competitive ground, a fresh frontier, and a critical engine for future economic growth. This isn't just a private sector trend, it's a coordinated national strategy. China's advantage here comes from something the country has spent decades building, its enormous manufacturing base and electric vehicle supply chain. That existing infrastructure allows Chinese robot makers to scale production quickly while pushing prices down faster than competitors elsewhere. As a result, there are now reportedly more than 140 humanoid robot manufacturers operating in China alone. That's not a niche market anymore. That's an entire ecosystem racing toward the same goal. But rapid growth brings its own problems. With so many manufacturers flooding the market, many companies are struggling to generate a real return on investment. Industry analysts have noted a sharp pullback in funding for smaller, second-tier players since last year. The excitement that once fueled explosive growth is starting to cool, and concerns about an industry bubble are becoming harder to ignore. Rental business owners are feeling this shift firsthand. One operator in Jiangsu province, who invested in 8 humanoid robots for his rental business, described watching prices slide as the novelty wore off. Audiences, it turns out, get tired quickly when the technology stops visibly advancing. When every rental company is offering nearly identical robots doing nearly identical tricks, customers start to lose interest, and that's exactly what appears to be happening right now. Nowhere is the gap between spectacle and substance more visible than at a futuristic exhibition center in Beijing's Yizhuang district, a regular stop for government-organized tours. There, robotic dogs perform traditional lion dances, and a humanoid dressed in a basketball jersey sinks free throws for visiting delegations. It's an impressive show designed to leave a lasting impression. But scratch beneath the surface, and even the most advanced players in this space admit the technology still has a long way to go. Take Unitree, the company widely regarded as the world's largest humanoid robot maker. Its robots have become viral sensations, charming audiences with martial arts routines during major broadcasts, and the company is reportedly preparing for a public listing in Shanghai later this year. Yet even at this frontrunner's own headquarters, staff have acknowledged that the majority of their robot sales go to research institutions and educational programs. Industrial deployment, the kind that would actually replace human workers on production lines, still accounts for less than 10% of their business. When asked directly about when their robots might be ready for real factory deployment, company representatives have responded cautiously, saying that timeline depends heavily on future technological breakthroughs. That's a telling answer from a company at the very top of the industry. If the market leader is still years away from true industrial deployment, it puts the flashy stage performances we've all seen into much clearer perspective. Some industry analysts have gone even further, suggesting that much of the current hype is being deliberately amplified. The narrative being pushed, according to some observers, is designed to tell a story about how far ahead China is in emerging technology. That doesn't mean the technology isn't real or impressive, because it absolutely is. But it does mean the gap between what's being showcased and what's commercially viable may be larger than most headlines suggest. So where does this industry actually go from here? Many analysts predict the sector will eventually consolidate around a small handful of major players. Smaller companies unable to compete or generate sustainable revenue may end up surviving only through local government subsidies or backing from larger partners. In other words, the current explosion of manufacturers we're seeing right now likely won't last in its present form. Meanwhile, the rental market itself is proving to be more than just a novelty. For manufacturers, it's becoming a valuable feedback loop, generating real-world data on how these robots perform outside of carefully controlled demonstrations. Every wedding, every exhibition booth, every corporate event where a robot slightly stumbles is a lesson that gets folded back into future development. In a strange way, the rental boom might end up accelerating real progress even as it exposes the technology's current shortcomings. This isn't just a China story either. American companies working on humanoid robotics are watching closely, and several are deep into their own development programs with similar strengths and similar honest limitations. The global conversation around humanoid robots has undeniably accelerated because of what's happening in China right now. But across the industry, the consistent theme is the same. Today's commercial deployment focus is landing mostly on warehousing and light manufacturing, not the general-purpose household assistant that captures the public imagination. So what's the real takeaway from all of this? The viral videos aren't fake, exactly, but they don't tell the whole story either. Behind every flawless dance routine is a team of engineers, remote operators, and carefully controlled conditions designed to make the impossible look effortless. The rental market, almost by accident, has become the place where that carefully constructed illusion meets the unpredictable chaos of the real world. And that tension between polished spectacle and messy reality is probably the most honest snapshot we have of where humanoid robotics truly stands today. The technology is advancing fast, the investment is real, and the ambition from companies and governments alike is enormous. But the machines that will one day work alongside us in factories, hospitals, and homes are still, by most accounts, several years away from that reality. What we're watching right now isn't the finished product. It's the messy, fascinating middle chapter of a much longer story. If this video gave you a new perspective on what's really happening with humanoid robots, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. Drop a comment below and let me know what surprised you most about this story. There's a lot more happening behind the scenes of the tech world that mainstream headlines simply aren't covering. Until next time, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.